Hello, how are you today?
Hello.
How are you doing, Pedro?
Hello. This
So,
is.
so where are you calling from, Pedro?
I am from Spain.
Spain. Wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful.
This
So,
this is
ha-
my first class with
oh,
in Berlin.
oh, is this your
I am
first
new.
Verbling class?
Yes.
Awesome. Well,
Yes.
welcome, welcome. So,
Thank you.
I am only 1 week old in Verbling. So, but I think this is my 32nd class or something like
Okay.
that. And so,
Very good.
welcome. So, so we've got Pedro and then David. Pedro, I want to introduce you to David. David is from Colombia, and
Okay.
you'll find that most of the classes here, people are from all over the world. And I've had two classes, which was really funny. I had one class where only two people were there, and they were both from Saudi Arabia. And then I had another class where there were 5 or 6 people, and they were all from Brazil. And that was funny for all of us. But normally we have people from all over the world. So,
Okay.
and okay, and then we have Victor. No, Andre, not Victor. I'm sorry, Andre from the Ukraine, and Cesar. Where are you from?
I'm from Brazil. Good afternoon for everyone.
Good afternoon. And then David from Colombia, and Greg, I can't remember where you were from.
I
I
come
know
from Poland. I come
from
from
where.
Poland, but I live in the UK.
Okay, what did you say? I'm sorry.
I come from Poland.
Poland. Okay, Poland. But right now you are in the UK.
Yes.
Perfect. And I assume you guys are all working. So what do you all do in your jobs?
Right now I'm not working, so
Oh, okay. So
looking for a job.
you're looking. Yeah, I remember. I remember now. And Pedro, what do you do?
I am computer designer. I programming iPhone apps.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And David, what do you do?
Hello, Holly. I am a student. I'm a student finance
Student.
currently.
Awesome. Okay. What are you studying, David?
But yeah, I'm studying finance currently.
Fi- Finance. Perfect. So this class will be really good for all of you, actually. And Cesar, what are you studying?
Oh, I'm project manager for
Oh,
telecom
okay.
for technology industry.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And Victor, no, I'm sorry. You're not Victor. Andre, you guys don't even look alike, but you're from the same country. So, Andre, what industry do you work in?
I'm working at the jewelry works
Mm-hmm.
as a 3D designer. 3D
3D
designer.
designer. I think that's so amazing. So welcome, Roxana. Where are you from? Okay.
Hello, I'm from Russia.
You're from Russia? Okay, welcome. So we've got Roxana from Russia. We've got Pedro from Spain. Greg from Poland, but right now he's in the UK. And David from Colombia. Caesar from Brazil. Or is it Caesar? And then Andre from the Ukraine. So we've got people from all over. Just for those of you, I'm new for many of you. I'm actually from Idaho in the USA. Um, and I spent 11 years in Finland teaching business English. And and I also spent just under 2 years in South Korea as well. and I came back to the States 5 years ago for just because I started teaching online, and I realized I wanted to live close to my mom. And so that's been it's been a nice, really nice 5 years of being close to family. So anyway, and I'm new on Verbling. I've only been here for 1 week now. I guess it's a week ago today that I started teaching at Verbling, and I'm having so much fun because you guys are from everywhere, and I'm learning so much about different countries and all kinds of things, so this is great. So today we're going to actually work with a vocabulary, and specifically the vocabulary of contracts. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share the worksheet. And what we're going to do is we're going to look through the worksheet, do the worksheet together, and then we will also discuss this and try to relate it to your particular your situations in your past experience. So we'll go to the top. The first one right here, we've got contract vocabulary. We've got, if you guys want to mute your microphone, then you can repeat after me and then no one hears you. So, appendix, binding, fulfill, parties, sue, and terms. Do you guys know these words? Any words that you do not know?
Yeah, what is binding?
Binding, usually with binding, it has to do with a contract, and oh wow, how do I explain this? It's basically it's that the contract basically says that you oh, how do I explain it? All the other words are easier than this. This is the hard one.
Okay, I can look it in the Google
Dictionary.
Yeah,
but that's not fair. Let's see if I can explain it. Basically, if something is binding, it is set. We say set in stone. It cannot be changed.
Okay, no change.
Cannot be changed. Oh, I figured it out. Thank you. So, so it cannot be changed. Maybe the conditions of the contract cannot be changed once the contract is signed. So thank you for asking that. Are there any other words? Okay. So
what about sue?
This one?
You.
This one right. This one right here. Sue?
Sue.
Sue? Sue? Okay. This is an American term, American happy term. Americans love to sue. And that's if say for example, if you sign a contract with a company and the company you guys do not agree later on, then you go to the attorney and try to get money. You try to get more money out of them. For example, like in the U.S., people will sue companies for everything. Did you guys hear about the lady who had the hot coffee? She ordered coffee from McDonald's.
Yeah, I heard that story.
Yeah, can you tell it?
I don't know the details because there's another story which was more interesting. It has nothing to do with the sue, but I think the IBM tried to patenting as as actions.
Huh?
This is another case when actually they're thinking they try to stop patenting things, so they try to be out of the patents.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, in the U.S., people sue for everything. I was away from the States for 13, 14 years, and I came back, and I'm like, the sue mentality. But basically, it's where you try to get more money from a company through the court of law. And sometimes it's good, but other times I'm not sure about. So, are there any other words that you do not know? So let's try to do this together. Bear with me a moment while I get the chance to actually write on it. I think this is it. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through this, and if you guys can choose the right word, and then I'll hopefully write the right word in there. So if the PDF will allow me to do that. Okay. Yeah. So a contract is a legal agreement between two or more what?
Parties.
Parties. Two or more parties, exactly. And parties would be people or groups. Every contract contains different terms. Correct. Every contract contains different terms, which state what each side must do. If the contract is in a written form and somebody signs it, then usually that person must meet or fulfill, yes.
Fulfill all the conditions.
Yes, fulfill all the conditions. And if he or she has not read, which is the word that I struggled with explaining. So, if someone does not fulfill certain conditions, for example, if a person refuses to pay after receiving a service, the other party may decide to sue. Excuse me, in a court of law. Sometimes the parties may want to include some extra conditions in a contract after it has been signed. They can do this by adding an
Appendix.
Perfect. Appendix. Okay. So let's go ahead. What I'd like you guys to do is each person, if you could, each person read a sentence. I've read it now, and each person, if you would read it just to practice pronunciation. Let's start with Roxana. Could you read the first sentence?
A contract is a legal agreement between two or more parties.
Perfect. Okay, and then Pedro, could you read the next sentence?
The next, every contract contains different terms, conditions, with state with each side must do.
Perfect. And Greg?
If the contract is in a written form and somebody signs it, then usually the person must meet or fulfill all the conditions, even if he or she hasn't read the full agreement.
Perfect. And you have that's really good. You said hasn't instead of has not. Okay, and David.
Okay. We can also say that the conditions are now fine.
Perfect. Okay, and Cesar.
If someone does not fulfill certain conditions, for example, if a person refuses to pay after receiving a service, the other part may decide to sue in a court of law.
So the other party may decide to sue in a
Party.
court of law. Party,
Pa-
yeah, good.
Party.
Party. Yeah,
Party.
party. Perfect.
Party.
Okay, and Andre.
Sometimes the parties may wanna include some extra condition in a contract after it has been signed. They can do this adding in appendix.
We can do this by adding an appendix. Okay, perfect. Question for you: just to talk about these words a little bit, has anybody here ever sued anybody else? Have you ever been part of a lawsuit?
I don't understand the question.
The question is, have you ever been a party in a lawsuit? So has anyone ever sued you? Or have you sued anyone?
No.
Never. Okay. Would you guys agree with me that it's mostly an American thing?
I think apparently yes.
Yeah, and I think between individuals, I think companies still do it. So let's go to the types of contracts. Okay, so we have a lease, an employment contract, a contract of sale, an insurance policy, a software license, or a credit agreement. Okay, so let's go ahead and match these together. For example, let's read all of these first, and then let's match it. So, Andre, could you read the first line?
Lease. A contract between a seller or vendor and a buyer or purchaser.
Okay, so which one do you guys think this would be? Would it be a lease, an employment contract, a contract to sell, an insurance policy, a software license, or a credit agreement?
Or buyer, it's maybe it's contract of sale.
Yes, a contract of sale.
3-1.
Okay, perfect. A contract of sale.
Third one.
Okay, and next one. Cesar, could you read the next line, starting with a contract? Cesar?
Are you here?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you just slightly. Hello? Okay, let's skip Cesar for now and go to David. David, could you read that?
Yeah, a contract between an employer and employee.
Okay, so what is that?
Yeah, that is an employment contract.
An employment contract. So that would be 2. Okay? And Greg, could you read the next one?
Yes. A contract between an insurance company and a person who pays for the insurance. I think it will be 4, insurance policy.
Perfect. That is 4. Okay? And the next one, Pedro, could you read that?
A contract which allows one party, the tenant, the use of the land or property of the other party, the landlord, for a specific period of time.
Okay, so between a tenant and a landlord.
Number 1, at least.
Number 1. Perfect. And another just as far as vocabulary goes, you can have a leaser and a lessee.
Okay.
And the leaser is the landlord, and the lessee is the tenant. Okay.
Okay.
Next one, Roxana, can you read the next one?
A contract which allows someone to use a computer program. I think it's a software license.
Okay. And the following one, Caesar, can you speak yet?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Could you read the last one?
Okay. A credit agreement. A
Okay.
legal contract in which a bank agrees to loan a customer a certain amount of money for a specified amount of time.
Okay, and that would be a credit agreement. So, okay. So let's talk a little bit about some of these. I have a question for you about a software license. Okay, so when you guys go and you sign up for a software, do you guys actually ever read the terms? You know how you have to check that you have read the terms. Do you ever read them?
No,
No.
Everybody's laughing.
no.
Yes.
There's a simple form. You don't actually have to read it, but there's a name of the license that give you general idea what you can do with the software, what you cannot do. So there's a GPL software, BSD software, commercial software, and mix it, all the things.
Okay, so if you know a little bit about it, but I know most of us, say for example, when we signed up for Facebook and when we signed up even for Verbling, as for some of them, if they're short, I'll read them, but for a lot of them, we just don't read the terms and conditions. You know, Microsoft, I haven't read any of that stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yeah. In the European legal terms, in the law, in the European law, if a company, as overall the U.S. company, in the software, if for example, when I sign the Apple condition or another companies, if the term are abusive in the European law, I can sue that company because these terms are very abusive for the user.
Okay, so because they're not the same. So you can actually sue the company if they do not follow European law.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you were saying? Wow. And it's kind of interesting. Okay, so how about it was like, for example, when I was living in Finland, I bought a flat. And when I went to the bank, to sign basically it's the mortgage agreement. Mortgage agreement. I informed the bank that there was a very very bad vocabulary error.
What?
And I explained the error, and the response from the banker was, "You mean you read it? You mean you read the whole thing?" Because it was 70 pages, and so she was very surprised that I read it. But the mistake was lose and loose. Do you guys know the difference between lose and loose?
The lose is the past term. Yeah.
No. Well, lose like if say it was about if you lose your property, lose your property due to a natural disaster, the insurance won't cover it or something. But loose has to do with something like my dog. My dog, if he leaves the yard, he is loose. He's not contained. So it's a completely different mistake, and they use the wrong word. They use loose.
Sorry, teacher.
Instead of lose.
What about dog? Sorry, teacher. Please.
Okay. The example of lose versus loose.
Yes, I got
Okay.
about.
Yes.
For example, if my dog is not, if he runs away, if he is not on my property, he is loose. The second
Yes.
one, so he is loose. That's what the meaning. But many people,
If you run away.
he's loose. He's not with the I can't even remember the word.
I got you.
Yeah. So he's free. He's not with us. So. But
Yes.
anyway, many times people will use the word loose when they really mean lose, which is L-O-S-E. But it's a real common mistake. So anyway, okay. So let's go on to the next page. Next question. Which types of contracts do you or your company sign? So Roxana, which kind of contracts have you signed? Or your company?
Maybe I have signed these. Then when I rented a room with my sister, I think 2 years ago, we have signed a lease. And of course, we have signed a software license for some computer programs.
And did you sign an employment contract with your boss, with your job?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And how about you, Pedro? Which contracts have you used?
In my job, I signed the unemployment contract and confidential contract.
Okay. Okay, and that's actually, there's several different. The most common one is called an NDA. Do you guys know what that is? Called
NDA? What does it mean? And what stand for?
It means a non-disclosure agreement.
A non-disclosure. Okay.
Non-disclosure agreement, which means once you that you as the employee are not supposed to say anything about what you do, and are not supposed to tell anybody anything. Even after you leave the company, you are not supposed to say anything.
Sí, this is the agreement I signed.
Yeah, and that is pretty typical. Some of the companies that I have taught with have also had me as an English teacher sign an NDA. It's very, very common. And then there's also a competition. Usually in the employment contract, there's usually a competition clause where you cannot compete with the. And that's usually a clause that's part of the contract. So.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Greg. How about you? Which ones of these kinds of contracts have you signed, either in your job or in your personal life?
Actually, between the lease contract, because the house that I live right now, I have to pay rent. Employment contract. Actually, software license, in this case that I just, I'm the person who usually pay for the software.
Okay.
So I usually have to accept it as an individual person. I'm the person who doesn't have any think about credit agreements. Insurance policy is not what I was thinking, but maybe in the future.
Okay. Yeah. I just realized by looking at all of these that I have actually signed every one of these. For a contract of sale, I've signed it as a buyer, as a purchaser, and every one of these I've signed. So, and how about you, David? Which ones have you signed, or have you, or through yourself or your company?
Not for companies, but I have one time I have signed a permanency contract with a cell phone company
Mhm.
for a combo, for a packet of the cell phone, the minutes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had to sign a contract for getting the service with the company.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. And Cesar,
Oh, hi.
hi. Which contracts have you signed of these?
Oh, I have signed contracts, mortgage, house mortgage.
A mortgage. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
mortgage.
don't we don't say the
Uh,
T.
okay. Uh, and specific contracts for, how can I say,
Hello? Okay, Andre, why did you mute him? He was talking.
I just
So,
I
okay.
made a mistake. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. So, Cesar, could you unmute?
okay. Uh, when I get money from the bank, it's insurance. We call insurance.
Money from the bank and insurance.
Sure.
Okay, so a loan agreement.
A loan agreement. Okay.
Yeah.
Loan agreement. Okay.
Yeah, and you could also, it could also be a credit agreement. I think a lot of
Yes.
times it's a loan agreement. Mhm.
And for buying car, for example, we have to sign contracts when you not pay at all. One at all the money. When you don't give all the money for the car, you get some money from the bank.
Mhm.
I have signed this type of contracts.
Mhm. Exactly. Okay. Thank you very much. And Andre, how about you? Which types of contracts do you or your company sign?
Recently, I signed a agreement between me and my employer.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Nearly 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's pretty frequent situation when we should sign different kind of agreement in the, for example, in the bank office or in the shop, just buying something and etc.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you've signed several types of agreements. Thank you very much. All right, let's go on to word collocations. This has to do with more with vocabulary, and this is collocations with contract. So we have sign, breach, complete, draw up, extend, renew, and terminate. And I went ahead and muted a couple people because there was a noise and I wasn't sure where the noise was coming from. So I muted Cesar and Roxana. So when you're ready to talk, you need to unmute. So, yeah. So anyway, sign a contract is to put your signature on a contract to show that you agree to it. What is to prepare or write a contract? Does anybody know what that would be?
Draw up.
Draw up, yes. Draw up. Okay, how about to break one or more of the terms of the contract?
Breach.
Breach, yes.
Breach. To break one.
And that's a reason that people will sue, is because of breach of contract. Okay, next one, to end a contract before the official end date.
Renew. Oh, sorry. Terminate. Yes, terminate.
Terminate, yes. Terminate. Okay. And to fill all the terms of the contract?
Complete.
Complete.
Complete, yes. Complete. Okay. And to make a contract continue for a longer time?
Renew.
Extend.
Extend, yes. And to sign a new contract when the previous contract has finished?
Renew.
Renew, yes. Okay. Have any of you guys ever drawn up a contract?
No, I haven't.
Anybody? I was talking to for about 5 or 6 years. I taught several attorneys and lawyers, and I learned from one of them that 90% of the time, people when they draw up a contract, they copy and paste it from another contract. So most of the contracts are copy paste. So I found that very interesting. It's like, oh, so that's why I don't understand it. So anyway.
Bad habit, no?
Yeah, I didn't know that, but now we do, huh?
Actually, I think because they believe the general terms in the contract will be similar, but if they don't want to prepare own contract, it means that they don't want to spend a couple of months on thinking about the law regulation, about what is in the bills, but if they copy and paste and there will be something wrong, they take the risk of that.
Yeah. And well, and also if they copy paste, they can know that the language is correct, but all they have to do is change the details, change the dates, or change certain things. So I actually I own a very small company, and I have written up contracts for employees before, employment contracts, and that's what I've done. I've just copied from somebody else because my attorney student told me I could. So anyway, now let's complete the sentences below. Andre, could you start? Could you do the first one? Number 1.
Our lease expires at the end of the year, but we were able to renew to extend the contract by another year.
Okay, yes, a renew or extend. Either one will actually work in this respect. Okay, Pedro, could you read number 2?
We cannot sell the goods to a third party. If we do this, we will this. Alright, we can third party. This branch, huh? Branch.
Yeah.
See the branch. We will branch the contract.
Okay, as far as pronunciation, we will breach the contract.
Breach.
Breach
Thank
the contract. You're welcome. That's why you're here, right? So, okay, next one. Cesar, could you read that one?
We were very happy with the services, so after our contract ended, we decided to renew it.
Yes.
Or
renew it.
Renew it? Yes, okay.
Yeah, for this one, it's renew. Because it's after our contract ended. But with this other one is a little bit more, it could be either. So, okay. Number 4, Roxana.
The construction firm couldn't complete the contract because of the bad weather.
Okay, thank you. And hopefully the construction firm had a clause or something in the appendix about that situation. So, David, could you read number 5?
Sure. We can contact with other parties. We can end. No.
Yeah. End. What is the word for end?
Yeah. Complete? No. Reach?
No.
Draw up. Draw up.
No, you're not seeing it. It's terminate.
What is term? Ah, yeah, terminate.
Terminate. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Number 6. And then that would be Greg.
In order to make everything legal, the lawyers decided to draw up a contract.
Perfect. Draw up a contract. Exactly. Okay. And good. Let's go to the next one. In English, there are a number of very formal, old-fashioned words which are used only in legal contracts and formal documents. So look at the sentences and phrases below. What do you think the underlined words mean? It says in pairs match them to their meaning, but as a group we'll match them to the meaning. The company named above, hereinafter referred to as the contractor, the schedule hereto attached, payment of the obligations herein, we do not warrant that the website will meet all your needs. By signing this contract, you hereby accept the terms and conditions. So, number 1, what do you guys think that one would be? Any idea?
In number 1, I think is the letter C in this document.
I think later in this document.
It's later. It's here and after.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay,
it's later. Yeah. Very good though. Thank you for your attempt. So D later in the document. Okay. Number 2. Any guesses on that one? Because we're all guessing. So the schedule hereto attached.
In this document.
Nope. It's not. It's not in the document.
Hereto attached.
Yeah. Any ideas? It would be it would be E.
E.
E. So the schedule attached to this document. You can actually take off the here too, and it makes sense. The schedule attached to this document. So, okay.
Yes.
Number 3, payment of the obligations herein.
I don't know, C in this document?
C, a very good guess. You are correct.
Yeah.
Okay, we do not warrant that the website will meet all your needs.
Guarantee B.
Guarantee, yeah. And that's very close to the word warranty, so that helps a little. And then, of course, by signing this contract, you hereby accept the terms and conditions, so as a result, you can accept the terms and conditions. Now, do contracts in your country use specialized legal language like this? Roxana? Or anybody?
Sorry. Sorry.
Okay, well, I guess I'll call on people. Who was it, Pedro?
Yes, in Spain, it's very usual to use the specially legal languages. Is very important. Used as a specialized language.
Okay. How about in the Ukraine, Andrei?
Actually, there are a lot of special words and phrases and collocation in legal agreements in my country, in Ukraine. I can't remember them now.
Yeah, and I mean, I very rarely remember these, so I understand. As far as in the Ukraine, are most contracts in Russian or is it in the Ukrainian?
I think it's 50-50.
Okay, so it depends on the organization.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Greg, how about Poland?
Well, we use in the agreements you will probably see these words that you usually don't understand. One of the things that really I hate is because I see the agreements. I was in the company when I was working on completing the agreements because the general things were there, and I have to give the data about the clients. So I think what they try to do in many cases, what I personally hate, is they give you maybe on 2 pages, maybe on 4 pages, but the letters in the most important information that are the smallest letter. So you sign something, maybe the title is bigger, but you don't have to focus. And this is a general practice that usually people don't want to read this kind of documents because they don't know this all law terms, because to fully understand you have to be a lawyer, but sometimes even a small would make a difference. I was a student who was I was studying public administration, so this kind of language was always more typical for me, but this day I think I don't fully understand many of these terms when I see it.
Yeah.
But it is probably better than a person who, I don't know, who spent most of the time in something like technical schools, sociology and similar subjects. I think it's quite complicated, but companies doesn't make it easier.
No, they don't.
Actually, I think they have own reason to make more complicated and just say it about what are the beneficial of the agreement, of signing the agreement with the company, instead of other disadvantages.
I think one of the reasons they make it complicated is because there's so many ways that people interpret, or two people can read the same sentence and think the same thing, and think different things, and so they make it complicated so that for the interpretation, and there's less suing and stuff like that. I guess, I don't know. So anyway, Roxana, in Russia, does the contracts use specialized legal language?
Yes, of course. I think it's in the most countries it's like a special, very formal language for contracts.
Okay. David, in Colombia, is it the same?
Yeah, usually the contracts has a lot of pages, and the words are some words are very strange, because the average people doesn't use these kind of very formal words about laws and things like that. So sometimes you have to you need to ask for help, because some words you struggle with some words because it could be different.
Yeah, and I think that's why people don't always read the service agreements and stuff. So, and Cesar, how about you? How about Brazil?
In Brazil, the contracts has a lot of legal terms that specific lawyers can understand.
Only lawyers are there.
Yes, depends on the complexity of you're supposed to sign. You have to ask for help for a friend lawyer or something similar, in order to understand how to continue sign or not.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and discuss any of the questions below. Let's start with Pedro. Could you choose one of these questions and ask one of the other students?
I don't understand what you ask for me.
Oh, okay. Well, choose a question, like just read question number 1 and ask somebody.
If I I have to do a question for. I don't have any question.
Oh, you don't see it on the board?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Oh, okay, no worries. Andre, can you see the questions?
I want, yes, I can.
Okay.
I wanna ask the question to Pedro.
Okay.
How important are contracts in your work?
Very important. For example, we have contract with client or customer, no, with another countries. We have to very discreet, no, very. We can talk for everyone about the thing we are developing, and for mobile apps is very important, the discretion.
And when you do the contracts with other countries, are they usually in English or are they in Spanish, or do you do like both English and Spanish?
Both, and both languages.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because I know that in some countries, if the contracts are only in English and not in the official language, it doesn't hold up in the court of law. That's what I've heard. So, okay. So, Pedro, can you choose somebody and ask a question?
For example, for Caesar. For
okay.
example.
Exactly, Caesar.
The number 2, what typical actions are required and prohibited in contracts with your clients or suppliers?
Suppliers.
Suppliers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I think it's more. It's not allowed. Specific things. It's a difficult question, because contracts might have all conditions of the services or product will be delivered. I think the company is not allowed to before signing contracts to give any advantages for suppliers or customers in order to sign a contract.
Okay. Thank you very much, Caesar. And the word allowed, the E you do not pronounce it at the end, so it's allowed instead of allowed.
Allowed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Allowed. Okay. And Caesar, could you read number 3 and choose somebody to answer?
Andrew, has Andrew answered any questions?
No, he hasn't.
Oh, okay. Number 3, yes?
Yep.
How can you terminate a contract with your clients or suppliers?
I just had only a contract with my employer recently. I haven't any contract with clients or suppliers.
Okay, so you don't know.
I don't know about clients, any of clients or suppliers.
Okay. We can barely hear you. I'm not sure why.
You can hear me properly?
No, it's real. It's like you're far away, far away.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Okay. And so, Roxana, in your company, how about number 3? How can you terminate a contract with your clients or suppliers?
I think maybe if both of the parties agree with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what happens if they don't agree with it?
I think one of the can sue
Mm-hmm. One of the parties.
The
Parties.
parties. Yeah, one of the parties can sue.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Excellent. Okay. And Roxana, can you choose a person, maybe Greg or David, to answer number 4?
David, do your clients or suppliers ever
Breach.
breach your contracts? What happens then?
Okay, Holly, can you refresh me if breach is right?
Um,
Right to contract?
A breach is when they don't follow the rules of the contract.
When they okay.
Yeah, they say they will do something and then they don't do it.
It's like draw up when they don't fulfill one term or one condition.
Exactly, and it's usually a very important term or condition.
Okay. So I don't have any suppliers, so and I don't think so. But if that would happen, I think the contract is going to end because one party doesn't fulfill one very important condition.
Mhm. Exactly.
And you can sue.
Mhm. Yes. So the contract could end, and actually there are a lot of lawsuits, or you can sue because of what we call it. It's called breach of contract. Breach of contract. So if you have an agreement with a contractor to remodel your bathroom and they don't do it correctly, then that's a breach of contract. So, all right, it looks like we're out of time. And I hope you guys had a good class. As far as I hope you learned a lot. Thank you very much for all of your participation. And you can actually get this this worksheet off of. You can actually download this worksheet if you want off of the page on Verbling, the contracts page. So. Thank you very much, and as they say in Finnish, hyvää päivää jatkoa, or continue to have a good day. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, bye. Bye, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye.
cheers.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.